Hi, I'm Alec Gallant with Global Food Safety Resource. Today we're at the Food Technology, Innovation and Safety Forum in Chicago, and I'm going to be interviewing Victor Muliyil, who is the Technical Manager of Food Safety Services at SGS North America. So first of all, Victor, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today.
My pleasure.
Can you just start off by providing a brief description of the major activities that SGS provides for the food industry?
Okay, well, SGS is the oldest and largest food inspection, training, testing, certification company in the world. We've been around since 1878. We're headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. And we provide inspection services on food safety, on ISO standards. We provide certification as well as on all the GFSI standards, and we do this in over 150 countries worldwide.
Okay, so a lot of experience. I mean, since 1878, they were doing inspection as far back as that, eh?
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty impressive. So in terms of the supply chain, are you guys covering everything, like from upstream to downstream?
Yes, we do everything from on-farm certifications, including things like Global GAP or SQF 1000. All the way through to the retail store audits and retail programs, food safety programs for the large chains, whether they be food service or whether they be restaurant chains or whether they be grocery chains.
Okay, including logistics as well?
Logistics as well, which is an emerging field because of some of the warehouse and storage standards that are coming out, and also in the packaging industry because those are now being published as well.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of packaging standards coming out, and then also with the Food Safety Modernization Act, I heard that they specifically used language where they weren't saying HACCP because they wanted it to apply to logistics.
That's right, because people sort of misinterpret HACCP as being just food processing in some cases, and they wanted to broaden their perspective. So they've, even in some of these standards, they don't use HACCP or GMP so much anymore. They use food safety management systems or food safety standards.
Okay, so it's a shift in the terminology, really.
Yes, and more to incorporate the fact that they want to go top down in their approach from management, senior management down, as opposed to the sort of the HACCP coordinator crying in the wilderness approach.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's good to eliminate that.
Yeah.
So. And just like continuing on that about starting from management, you guys do a lot of training.
Yes, we do.
Right? What are the successful elements, or some successful elements of a training program?
Well, there are two main focuses on training. One is the executive level, where you want to get some buy-in from the executive. So we do mini training sessions, maybe awareness sessions of an hour to 2 to 3 hours, and that really gets the decision makers in a room, and it gets them talking about these standards, and it sort of drives the whole process forward. Mm-hmm. Then you want to get sort of implementation and internal auditing type training going as well to get the staff involved. And what we found is that it's much better to do it from an audit standpoint rather than from a theory and just sit here and listen to this lecture for a while. It's a lot better if you say, you're in an audit, you're an auditor, what are you going to look for? And it sort of gets more buy-in when they're looking at themselves from the outside. We find that very effective. And
it's all about buy-in and the culture of food safety, right?
Yeah, because the hardest thing to change in a company is the culture. Once you get buy-in from your internal employees, it makes management's job that much easier.
And applying those same principles to your own company, I mean, GFSI, I think that their newest version is going to include an integrity program where the certification bodies themselves are also having these, like looking internally to see if they have the same checks and balances.
Well, they do that now. We have 3 stages of audits. We have a level 1 audit that actually a supervising auditor will check individual auditors during their audits. And we have level 2 audits where an outside team from an overriding division will come in and sample a bunch of different audits, make sure they were done right, review the thoroughness of the report, review how appeals were handled, whether they were handled competently, whether any corrective actions were raised against the auditor, and how those were handled. And then you have the level 3, where you actually have an external division from the country or from the division come in and do an even higher level approach to that. And in addition to those, then you have the accreditation bodies coming in and sampling your audits as well to see that all these checks and balances are in place. So it may be a formalization of the activity, but it is an activity that's ongoing right now.
Yeah, you always need those extra layers of impartiality.
Yeah, and in fact, that's what separates the wheat from the chaff, if you will, when it comes to certification bodies. Because in the unaccredited, the way it used to be a few years ago, it was a free-for-all. Anybody could do a HACCP certification from their basement, for instance, without any checks and balances. Now with the accredited programs, such as the GFSI schemes and standards, the checks and balances are what sets them apart, and the appeal mechanisms and the training requirements and qualification requirements for the auditors.
It's all about the integrity, right? I mean, what's the purpose?
And what's the point of doing an audit that a customer's got to rely on if you don't know that the auditors are qualified and the audit was done thoroughly? Yeah,
exactly. And just on another topic here, actually, how can SGS help companies stay on top of, like most companies have global supply chains now, it's becoming more complicated, and regulations are an example of the companies have to keep up with all the different import regulations.
Well, SGS, first of all, has teams that sit on technical committees for a lot of these GFSI schemes and a lot of the ISO standards as well as Codex, HACCP, and things like that. We have people that are solely responsible for monitoring these standards and updates to them, and sitting in on these meetings and update sessions. We also have update sessions for our auditors. We have regular, at least annual update sessions for our auditors in each region to bring them up to speed. And then we also have webinars that are run on regular intervals. They're on specific topics. Some of them are external and open to the public, but a lot of them are internal, designed to get auditors up, maintain their knowledge base. In addition to that, we also have review committees where we will actually not just respond to a standard and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, just tell us what to do and we'll do it. But we actually, from our experience and from our global coverage and our knowledge of regional habits or regional processing methods, etc., we will then feed back to the standards bodies and to the accreditation bodies on what's auditable, what's not auditable, how these standards can be beefed up.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have the experience, so that's, going to add.
I mean, we're not the only ones. We have others that are major contributors to this as well, other certification bodies, but we certainly do have a large impact on a lot of these things.
It's collaborative, right? That's
yes.
the key. Okay, thank you very much, Victor.
My pleasure.